the nature of your emergency?
Good morning, police, fire, military, and families, and to everybody who is listening in on the Tactical Living podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Welton, and today's guest I am so excited to share with you because I think that he is the perfect example of a beacon of light that walks among us. So if you have any questions, drop them down below. We are doing a giveaway to whoever comments the most within 24 hours. If you won last time, you can't win this time, but then you can win the time after that. And today we are going to give away a tactical gift basket. There's a lot of cool shit in there. We got a tumbler, a wallet, a pocket knife, a scented candle, some hand soap, definitely more in the masculine theme, which is what I like and why I picked it. And without further ado, we have Rick Cheatham. Rick, why don't you just share a little bit about yourself with us?
All right. My name is Rick Cheatham. I'm a retired fire captain with the city of Anaheim. I retired to Nashville, Tennessee during the COVID pandemic. That ended up costing our city millions and millions of dollars as our economic engine, which is Disneyland, ended up shutting down for, I think it was nearly 2 years. But when that happened, they offered us old guys an opportunity to leave early. So I took a 1 year early retirement. They gave me some cash and I got the heck out of California as fast as I could. Now that I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee, 5 months into my retirement, I fell and I broke my neck and was paralyzed from the chest down and had to learn how to walk again and take care of myself. I was in the hospital for over 3 months. And that's where I started to really develop this new mindset of overcoming adversity through the power of how we think, using our mind to change the story, change the perceptions of how it is that we deal with adversities.
I want to brag on you a little bit, Rick, because I've been watching a few of your interviews with other people. And something that I learned is that before you became a fire captain, you did a lot of the hard work when it comes to self-development. Mm-hmm. And something that I learned about your leadership skills is something that I think everybody in this group can appreciate, because one of the biggest complaints that most first responders have is admin. But you took a completely different approach. So talk to us about that. Well,
you know, the approach I took, number one, you're right. Early on, I had to do a lot of personal development work because, I've been married almost 40 years now to my wife, and 10 years into my marriage, she said, "I hate you, I hate God, I hate the church, I quit." And she was out with 2 boys. My 2 boys were just like 6 and 7 at the time. And I was faced with a dilemma. I'm either going to lose my family or I got to get this addiction under control. So I went back and started doing personal development work. I did some 12-step work and was able to finally overcome the porn addiction that I had. And so that, along with the power of commitment that I used in order to do that, which is also a mind shift, quantum physics type mentality, my wife and I were able to restore our marriage. We had another baby girl. We named her Victoria as a sign of victory in our marriage. And I used those tools to start to develop my leadership skills. And my leadership skills are simply this: servant leadership. So I never approached my crews or the people I was leading as though they were doing something for me. It was always, what can I do for you to make your life better, to make your environment better? So it's just basically servant leadership principles.
How was that for you, working with other leaders that didn't share those same qualities? Because I know that that's something that a lot of the people that have done the self-work, they hold on to those types of skills and they try to share them with other people. My husband is one of them, but I also know the struggle that takes place, kind of doing things a little bit differently. So, sometimes people want to rise their ranks and kind of show up and look good for themselves. But for you, it sounds like that just wasn't the case. So how does somebody who is acting in that same capacity kind of get over or contend with that type of just disconnect?
I never let them bother me as how they chose to lead. the folks that are in it for themselves, you can't hide that. You can't disguise that. And so your team and the people that are following you, they see that. And I always just figured that if I stood out the way that I did, being a servant leader, people would be attracted to that style of leadership. And that's the style of leadership that got me to the place where they wanted me to become their union president, because a lot of the administrative leaders were not that. They were more focused on appeasing city managers, appeasing the city council, not really putting their members first or the department first. So becoming the union president, I was able to capitalize on those skills and then use those with our administration and our city leaders and develop relationships that help, wind through some of the difficult times we had. And one of the most difficult times we had, the challenge we had was I had to put a vote of no confidence against our fire chief. I mean, the guy was just, he was very self-serving, very vindictive. And it was me standing the gap between the fire chief and our union. So I took that with honor, because that was my ability to serve my team. So the servant leadership came out in that. And yeah, it cost me a promotion. It definitely cost me a battalion chief position. But what it gave me more was it gave me the credibility and the respectability of our membership. And for me as a leader, that's more important than many amount of money or the color of your badge.
Yeah, and from my understanding, the way you showed up for them, in turn, they showed up for you, even not living in the same state anymore after you had your injury.
That's exactly right, and that's for me that was the icing on the cake that just said everything that I was doing was the right way to do it. So when I fell and I broke my neck, I'm paralyzed now. My wife is here. I mean, we're 5 months into this new state, 2,000 miles away from California, and my house still needed a lot of work to be done. And our fire family, we had folks flying out here every single day. I had somebody in the hospital with me, staying at the house with my wife, making sure everything was taken care of around here. They raised money for me. They did fundraisers. They did all that stuff. But the beauty of it is, between my wife and her ability to set up the environment in my room, because she is a nurse, she helped me to get my mind in the environment that I needed to be in the room environment. A very, very healing style, a lot of good music, just a good environment for me to heal what was going on. But the fire family, in conjunction, they were there every single day. So that just goes to show you that, when you stand up for people, people will stand up for you.
Yeah, totally. And Rick, I had an opportunity to check out a bunch of articles of the work that you and your wife have done ever since you had another terrible tragedy, one that no parent should ever have to face. So to the extent that you're comfortable, can you just share a little bit about that with us?
Right. So you guys in law enforcement, you know this drill. Sometimes you have to make notifications to parents. And we got that notification at 4 a.m. We had the Riverside County Sheriff's Department Coroner's Division came in and asked us if we were the parents of Michael Cheatham. And sure enough, we said, yeah. They said, well, we regret to inform you that Michael was killed last night. So that was 7 days before Christmas in 2013. And that put us into that just put us into a tailspin that we never imagined possible. Navigating through the loss of a child is one of the most difficult things any parent will ever. I'd say it is the most difficult thing any parent will ever have to deal with. And so navigating through Michael's loss, it took me 10 years to get over the anger and the bitterness and the resentment that I had for the man that murdered my son. Not because I didn't want to forgive him, but because I saw the effect that my son's death had on his brothers and sisters. So my other children, it was very difficult for them to navigate. And so as I looked at them and I saw where they were getting stuck, it really angered me even more. And then, you couple that with the fall that leaves you paralyzed. You start asking a lot of questions, and it's the power of the questions you ask yourselves when you're in adversity. So one of the questions I would ask, and it wasn't an empowering question, is why me? What did I do to deserve this? How come this has happened to me? Why is God punishing me? Why is life so unfair? I just retired. This isn't fair that I'd break my neck now. It isn't fair that I lost my son. But then I had to start changing, using the tools that I had learned through quantum physics and the mind shifting components. I started asking different questions because the power is in the question. So instead of saying, why me? I started asking questions like, what can I learn about me from this environment, from this situation? How can I use what's happening to me to benefit others? What is the purpose for me to go through this adversity? What will it look like for me when I'm on the other side and I can start to help other people? What is the power of this adversity? What is the gift that I'm finding in this adversity? And the hardest part of that entire questioning was trying to find the gift in Michael's murder. That took me over 10 years to finally find the gift. And I asked the question, but I could not get the answer. And the question was, what was the purpose of his life? What was his gift to the world? And what was that gift to me? And how can I use that gift for other people? And he brought people together. His whole life was bringing people together from all walks of life. And as he did this, it rubbed off on us a little bit. We were able to see the power of his his character. He had such a strong character. And I sat down with my dad it's probably about a year ago now, I guess. And I was communicating with him. I'm trying to find this gift. And my dad is the one that kind of pinpointed. He says, what if Michael's death was your gift? Mm-hmm. And that caused me to really start to hone in on, okay, if that's the case, how was it? And here's what I developed. Here's what I came to understand. Our family was very fractured through religion, through addictions, just a lot of different family dynamic and family trauma. After Michael's death, our family came together. We healed. We started to grow closer in our relationships. And because of Michael's death, we have a family unit now where people are much more closer. We're much more open to talk about things. We're much more willing to not allow, angry words or things spoken in anger to affect us. We're much more focused on the value of life because life is so transient and is so short at sometimes. And it just really changed our paradigm on how we manage as a family. So when I was able to finally get that gift out of Michael's death, it started to help me see that it doesn't matter what happens in life. Every adversity, you can find a gift. And when you can find the gift, then you can find the ability to move through the adversity and become what that challenge is designing you to be. And for me, the hardest thing was finding that gift and then learning and being able to forgive the man that murdered my son. Once I was able to forgive the man that murdered my son, a whole weight just shifted off of my shoulders. It was just like it was gone. I had so much resentment towards him. And what I've come to discover is there is no justified resentments. As much as people are saying, yeah, you're justified to hang on to this bitterness. You're justified to hang on to this lack of forgiveness. You're justified to want to kill this man. But that's the normal way we process our pain. To change that dynamic and say, I'm not justified to hold on to this resentment. And the reason is because I'm not holding on. It's not doing anything for him. It's what's killing me. So that all the chemicals and the hormones that get released in our body when we hold on to those angers and those resentments and that bitterness and that hostility, it destroys us from the inside. It's a chemical, toxic, emotional pain that if you don't allow that to get out, you're going to suffer. It's sort of like a snake bite. The snake bites you and then the snake's gone. But the snake isn't around anymore, but the toxin is still in your body. And that's what the lack of forgiving the unforgivable does. And there's one more thing I want to say to that is that when I was struggling with my porn addiction and betrayals and stuff, my wife had to learn how to forgive me, the unforgivable. So when I started to connect that here I am, I was the unforgivable, my wife forgave me. Who am I to hold on to this bitterness and resentment? I need to let it go like my wife let it go and start anew. And that was the whole journey through Michael's death for me.
Thank you for sharing the vulnerability. It's like drinking poison and hoping someone else gets sick from it. Yeah, that's totally true. And Rick, I actually have a quote from you. And you had said, I thought that forgiving him would let him off the hook, but really it let me off the hook. And for a lot of people that are holding on to that element of resentment, regardless of what it is, and they haven't gone through this path, right? This has been a long journey for you. What advice would you give to them?
Sit with the pain. Sit with that unwillingness to forgive. Just sit with the pain and feel it. Feel the adversity. Feel the hostility. Feel whatever it is that you've got to feel. And then once you have felt it, then start asking the powerful questions. What can I learn from this? What is the gift from this? What is the purpose for me to go through this challenging time? How will I be a better person as a result? See, when we have the experience, sometimes we don't want to feel that pain. We want to just go straight over and go into the healing side of things. We say, well, I can process this through. I can think this thing through. As I think this thing through, I think I'm healed now. But we skip over the biggest the biggest challenge, which is in order to heal it, you have to feel it. And if you push down those feelings, if you suppress those feelings, and for me, I could suppress it with drugs, alcohol, sex, you name it. When you suppress those feelings and you don't give your body the ability to feel that pain, then you will never be able to process through the pain. So for me, in order to heal whatever I'm going through, I've got to feel it. And when I feel it, that's when I can start to realize where it is I need to go. For me, forgiveness was the biggest component to that. So if you cannot forgive the unforgivable, then chances are there's going to be things that people won't forgive you for, or you're going to hold on to that animosity, and it's going to start to destroy you from the inside out. Marriages are destroyed, especially in the law enforcement, firefighter families. Our divorce rates are higher than the average by I don't know the exact numbers, but it's significant. And a lot of that, especially in marriages, we hold on to grudges. We hold on to adversities and the pain of what somebody did to us. And it compounds the relationship and creates more adversity, because as we think, so are we. And so we're focused on what the person did to us. And where your focus goes, where your attention goes, energy flows. And so what energy is flowing to those moments when you're focused on it? They're usually negative. And if you got nothing but negative energy flowing to all this pain that you're suffering, then you're going to start building that up into your body, and you're going to get your body into a diseased situation. So that's where we get our diseases. So I'm my biggest advice to people is sit with the pain and learn how to forgive those who caused it, because it's only going to set you free. It has nothing to do with them. It sets you free.
Yeah. Good morning. Tom says here, we are all the unforgivable. That's so true. And Matthew says very powerful. Tom says, that's biblical. You have to forgive just as God forgives you. Absolutely. And I know we have to wrap this up, Rick. I know that you help people through this now, and you also help marriages through this now. So talk to us a little bit about the services that you're able to provide to people and how they can get a hold of you.
Absolutely. So what I do now is I've turned my attention back to our first responder community, fire, police, veterans, because it's the heroes of the common folk, the firefighters, the police, the veterans. that have to suffer the most trauma. They're the ones that see the most pain that the society has to offer. And so the divorce rates are just through the roof. And it saddens me. It breaks my heart, that families are being destroyed due to trauma that's hard to deal with. And having gone through the trauma myself, I have a firsthand experience. I know your pain. I know what you're feeling. I've been there. I've had to navigate those same issues myself. And so I turn my focus back to them, and I provide them an opportunity to heal their pain and restore their families so that the lineage can continue. When Michael died, I lost an entire branch of my family. I'll never have grandchildren from that lineage again. In family divorces, there's a lot of trauma that happens that we don't take into consideration. So my whole focus now is to rebuild the family structure into what it was meant to be, which is an instrument of light to the world, so that people can see that it's the family unit that brings light to the darkness that is in this world. And if we can learn to love each other in the family unit, we can then learn to love our neighbor as ourselves. But until then, it's impossible. So I've developed a course. It's the A.I.M, first A.I.M, which is you become absolutely responsible for your perception of your reality. And with intention, you start to make the changes. So committed to the change. And then you do that through mind shifting. But it's more than that. I also developed in the fire service, we have an acronym that we use when we're faced with overwhelming incidences, mass casualty. It's called START, S-T-A-R-T, start where you stand. And so I developed a start where you stand to rebuild the marriage of your dream. And I walk men through that. So I teach men how to become the husbands their wives will love and want to fall in love with all over again. And you can get a hold of me through rickcheatham.com. So rickcheatham.com is my website. And then you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, it's Ricky C. AFD. That's Ricky C. AFD. And on Facebook, it's just my name, Rick Cheatham, or my business name, which is RK Consulting Group.
Perfect. Rick, thank you so much for coming on and adding so much value. And to everybody who is listening, Rick is a very friendly and open guy. So if any of this has sat with you, landed on your heart, he texted me this morning being incredibly kind. So do yourself a kindness and reach out to him if you feel like you need to, or even if you just want to introduce yourself. Rick, thank you so much for coming on. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.